Hey you, so on this video, why collector coins are failing, or mainly why modern collector coins are failing, I wanted to go over a lot of the newer collector coins and give my thoughts and opinions as to why I don't see them doing as well as yesteryear's coins. So I'm going to be focusing mainly on the 2019 collector coins. If anything, coins I've done on my hot or not, good, bad, ugly, new collector coin videos, and go over reasons why I believe they're not doing as well as, say, for instance, 2018s or 2017s. Of course, the further back you go, the stronger the market was. It's definitely the collector coin market, so you'll get stronger and stronger. But I also believe there's coins from back then, yeah, the pool has got smaller but still carry a large premium, and they shot off down there instantly. Whereas now, from what I'm seeing from a lot of the new releases this year, once again I'm going to be focusing on the ones that I've done on my good, bad, ugly, hot or not video, so go back and watch those if you haven't. Why I think personally, on thoughts and opinions here on why they're not doing the best of the best. Once again, I only focus on a small handful of coins, mainly from mints I think are in the forefront or do well and have a good track record. So if you have any that I've done fantastic, that I've missed, that you know of or you've been involved in for years or however long, please leave your process, thoughts and opinions in the comments. And once again, if you like what you like, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So I just gave a list of a few coins that have been out this year, but I'm also going to mention a few that I've done well, that I was personally involved in, that I'll say first. We all know being involved in a coin on a first has its potential benefits. If it should take off, you get that excellent shoot up. I've got a bunch of gold coins here that I was sorting out, and so I put these on display for today. And you know, you have your coins that can shoot up instantly just from being involved in the coin the first. It's not guaranteed, but in many of the previous years that's happened, from the Lion, the Dragon Phoenix, it's just a lot of releases we had. All of Perth Mint's first releases, you know, the Swan was a first good one. And these are coins, if you was to go on eBay now and check up on the secondary market prices, some have peaked and leveled out. But when you can look at a coin, or especially any coin that you picked up then from being a first or not, and it's still worth double, even triple. I mean, anything above double plus is a benefit. I mean, that's what you want to get into it for, if a coin can double. So if you put $1,000, £1,000 worth, and you can double your money regardless. So, you know, it's done very well. Whereas I see a lot of the newer stuff struggling. So that was just to name a few. I mean, there's been a good many. I was involved in a lot. I want to go over all of those now, but focusing mainly on the ones that are not doing so well. Naming the coins, I would say first up would be the bottleneck dolphin, the 2019. Once again, just focusing on the main collector coins that were released this year and how I don't see it looking too bright for them. So we had the bottleneck dolphin. I don't know when I done the video on that. I believe the mintage on that, it was a very favorable mintage. So it was on a 25k. Why I'm focusing mainly on the BUs is, of course, there's better upside potential there. You pay a lot less for the coin. If it goes on to shoot well, then, you know, you get much better appreciation on the piece. So the BU, the bottleneck dolphin, I believe only came out in BU from a very, very strong mint, also from Royal Australian Mint, down near Perth's sister company. And it had a 200 on the gold. So that was a fantastic number on both. Now, that coin flopped. Now, getting on to the reasons of why I think that coin flopped, it's basically an oversaturation is one of the things that I'm seeing for why many of these coins are flopping. Yes, it was something new for them, but they've been pumping out a lot as of late also. And when I say oversaturation, you can look at the market, and the new model was 25k, 50k. It was fantastic and took off, and everyone was getting crazy about it, when I think Perth done it first on the Dragon Phoenix coins. I'm not sure, once again, not know if that was the first that ever came out with that model mintage, but when it came out, it played such a massive, strong role that everybody flocked towards it, and it was fantastic. That's the norm now. So we have that situation where we've had a coin come out that, if it was on one of my videos of a potential coin of interest, I can't see why it flopped. And that can only be one of the reasons that I personally feel it flopped, and that's going to be down to oversaturation. Another reason is going to be, I think people are burnt out You know, with so many coins coming out, I personally thought that was a good enough new animal, new theme. So we went with an animal theme and a neutral enough animal. You know, dolphins are loved worldwide. You got Flipper out there and co. And, you know, I think it was spot on. I did like it, done a video on it. I can't see why it flopped, especially on what we had, a 200 on the gold. So just looking at that, and I call it a flop because it hasn't gone on to do fantastic things like, as mentioned, a lot of the earlier firsts did when they just shot through the roof. You can still pick up the BU from dealers. I've seen some dealers, UK, worldwide, Germany, having them up for what they had them up for. Nothing, you know, through the roof. I damn near say it has been nowhere near doubled. So you can still pick them up for bargains. Would say the next coin would be the Simpsons releases. Now the Simpsons came out in many different flavors, but focusing on the BU. Why? Because I think it had a fantastic mintage on the BU, 25k. It had proof offerings, which some have done better than others. Not saying that they've been very bad, but on a 25k, just released BU Simpson. I don't think they've done a proof image of the BU. 25k mintage. Once again, touching upon oversaturation, I think they just bombed way too much Simpsons at once. Although a lot of people flock towards the proof. And when I'm saying flop here, understand it's not that the coin's bad or it was a bad buy if you purchased it. No, by no means. I'm comparing it to other coins that came out in other years, earlier years, that went on to do fantastic things. I mean, certain coins dropped and just exploded. Where we're talking Rwandan coins, even Krugerrands at the time, that when they dropped, they exploded. Prices just went through the roof. People getting crazy for them. Everybody and their mother was trying to secure these pieces. Whereas with these coins here, I think certain things dealers done at the time, once again, oversaturating, especially with the Simpsons, I think the proofs overshadowed the BUs, whereas the 25k mintage wasn't even coming into account. That they should be sold out and doing well on the secondary market, but a lot of people gravitated more towards the proofs because they saw better opportunities there. So it's a shame, really. Those can also still be picked up for damn near what they came out for. It's on such a low mintage, it's not even playing a massive factor. Like, I would have thought personally, once again, a lot more people would have been interested in it. But if you like the coins, it's a great thing because you can pick them up for more. I personally like picking up coins that I know as time goes by, or I believe as time goes by, I can go on to sell them on for a profit. So that's why I'm mainly getting into those. So another coin that I thought would have been well, but once again, touching upon the oversaturation, is going to be the moon landing coins. Now, I think I was asked many times when I done the video, I think the US mint overshot their load when they went with the mintage they went with, but I can understand America's a massive place, so them doing massive mintages like that, even in today's market, is not going to really be a factor to them. They're not going to really care, because I think mints like the US mint, Royal Mint, even Royal Canadian Mint, even Perth Mint to a degree, have so much in the barrel that they can afford to drop what could technically be a flop. And I think doing it at that massive mintage, as we look at this big behemoth of a piece, absolutely love this 5 ounce. It ripped them off straight away for me, you know, not knowing at the time. I believe they was going to be the only one at the time that was going to be releasing pieces. Perth Mint actually went on to release their version, so that's what really grabbed the headlight. I think on the Perth release, it was a 50k on the BU, but with Perth, once again, you know, you're getting that quality, and also it's going to be encapsulated and a bit more TLC. I think Perth flopped on the 15k for the gold. I mean, I've seen a few dealers putting it up for sale, even Atmix themselves. That was just ridiculously stupid. They have gold coins out with 500 and 5k and they don't go nowhere. So I think they just thought it being on that theme was going to be a massive thing. But I think with the moon landing, it just, once again, it was just a drop and a bomb of releases. There was every mint and their mother released a polo coin, you know, an anniversary moon landing coin, and you just got flooded out. So there was no way you was going to pick one up and the rest would just go on and linger. I think they all was going to suffer the same fate. Please do let me know if you picked up the US Mint ones. I know they had 5 ounces proof. Perth also have the same large amount in the roster, but let me know if one's gone on to do fantastically well over the other, because from what I saw, they all just seem to be sitting in limbo. There was a lot released, a very much amount of them. And I think another reason why if I'm giving a reason on top of the oversaturation and dealer buyers being burnt out, is what we've all come to know as dealers playing the front, the back, and the middlemen. If any of the coins I've mentioned, would have been massive hits, and these are all coins that had a bit of promo behind them, a bit of a PR push. If they would have been any bigger, dealers, we all know, mentioning no names, would have done the old hike and dike game. So, pushing prices up. Now you see, now you don't. These are things that people have come to realize now and not like at all. So getting on to one of the next reasons, as I mentioned, another coin is going to be cryptos. I think cryptos have absolutely murdered the collector coin market. I've mentioned this in previous videos where cryptos have taken coins lunch. Once upon a time when, it was a very quiet market after the big spike and then dump in metals, if a collector picked up the Luna 1 coins, there wasn't that much interest in coins at the time. So they was able to pick these coins up. And then, as Perth released the second release, Luna 2, there was a flood of people back into the market, whether it was Mike Mahoney, Rich Dad Cash is Trash, just a lot of people picking up on that vibe and flooding back in. Those that were, just doing their thing, picking up Luna 1, was able to uber capitalize off of that. But that was a massive crowd that come flooding back into the market. I've seen and heard people say when people come back, this coin may take off. I don't think that's going to be the case. We're talking about coins here when we're talking about Luna 2 and people flooding back in that had massive mintages, 300k plus. We're not going to see that now that cryptos are here. And when I say that, I mean we're not going to see people flooding back into this market. Now that people have tasted cryptos, experienced cryptos, and even seeing what is happening over in crypto land, I don't believe we're going to see that flood of people come back. Yes, you can say if they get burnt, but you'd be surprised about the amount of people that I've been in cryptos for as long as I've been mentioning it now, and as time of releasing this, we're seeing this spike. I'm seeing people liquidate metals to jump back in. So, you have those that are always going to chase that good feeling and run from that bad. And when it's bad, it's bad. Don't think people get burnt and they still run back. There's always going to be, cryptos ain't going nowhere. We're seeing more industry get into it. So when I mention that, I say with cryptos here, I think the collector coin market's never going to be the same. It most definitely did take a lot of money that could have been designated to collector coins. Now, I know many got into collector coins thinking it was going to be what cryptos is, i.e. meaning they thought it was, pick up this coin. It was the best of both worlds. They had the physical and they had the collector coin aspect to it. They was putting money in. I mean, it was crazy. You had Luna coins on such high mintages, doubling and tripling, if you could imagine that, half ounces, 1 ounces, 5 ounces. The name of the game was mintage. How low is the mintage? What kind are we talking about? A lot of people held, a lot of people didn't, But I think with cryptos here now, it's definitely murdered the market in that people are just not comfortable or even happy putting their money over here because metals move so slow. They don't see nothing popping off over here, whereas over in crypto land is where all the action is. It's when we're talking liquidating, there's nothing to it. I mean, you can sit on your sofa, buy, and then you can sit on your sofa and sell. You're always going to find horror stories in every market. I know with metals it can never go to zero, but then you can say it can never shoot, it can never moon. You'll never get that Hulk boing in metals, but we have to wait for that mighty day. But I think cryptos has most definitely interrupted the collector coin market forever. I don't think you're going to get that flood of people coming back after the crash of last time and people getting back into metals and seeing that metals is where it wants to be. But you had a lot of people leave the metal scene also as of recent. So cryptos has left the collector coin market in a different space altogether, and this is another reason to look at what happens when you're looking at the climate. I don't think you can apply what was happening then. I don't think anybody at the time when they was buying the Luna 1 coins, sets and pieces, they may have knew, hey, when it picks back up, but I don't think they had to worry about cryptos at the time. Otherwise it could be a whole different market. So that's one thing to look at there. Another coin I would mention for 2019 that I've seen that hasn't gone on to do too well, I think mainly because they shot themselves in the foot, would be the South African mint coins. Once again, not saying that it's a bad buy if you've purchased it. I think it's bad. When I done the review on the coin for the Good Bad Ugly, I said I absolutely loved the piece. I think they messed up there because of another reason here, that some very subjective here, could say is, mints being unscrupulative, whereas they are producing them in packaging and giving it a set mintage and making believe that that's the set mintage there, whereas they'll release it in a packaging deal. I think they shot themselves in the foot there, where they overproduced and then went on and on and on. We didn't have no definite, it's going to be a 50k mintage, 15 in the packaging and the likes of. I know there is, but once I realized that was the gameplay, I personally checked out. So that's a coin also that you can still find on the secondary market with ease. It's a coin I will go back, track and pick up if I find it low enough, because it's something that, whereas you look at it now and it is what it is. Do you want to pay the price that you're paying right now? Because you might not get nothing more than that. Another example of that is the John Wick coins. You can call it unscrupulative again, because APMEX released them, I believe it was 100 on the, I believe it was proof, silver and gold. And when I recently done a review of them, I did mention I thought it would have been smarter for APMEX to just release the BU silver and the BU gold. And lo and behold, they've released the BU gold. I was talking with someone that locked in on the B proof gold and was happy. He was mentioning that he picked up at a set price before APMEX had increased the price, and he was very happy. And what did I think, and how high did I think it was going to go? And I said exactly this. I said, as long as APMEX don't do nothing shady, it's a licensed coin, but you should be able, in some time, be able to sell it for more than you paid for it. I.e., I only thought you was going to have the 100 proof, the 100 proof silver, and then the BU silver. I said, personally, don't bother picking up the proof silver because of the BU silver. And lo and behold, APMEX have released the BU gold. How I see that, absolutely nothing. It's business in the end of the day. But I would have thought they would have done it the way everyone does it. It's been done that way before. But if you would have released them all up front, showing your hand, they may not have sold as many gold proofs as they wanted to. So I see it as a bit of a shady tactic on their end, but it's business. Smart play. Please let me know if you've purchased the gold. If you don't mind these types of things once again, but if you did want to sell, the price you paid may be the highest you'll ever get for that coin, because they've i.e. gone and released it as a BU now, unlimited. So if anybody did want the gold, why not pick up the BU? But that's the same option with any coin. So it's neither here nor there. It's just great when they release them all at once up front for people to see. So it's just one of those things that you either see it or you don't. But I think all of these reasons combined, I think, have ultimately gone on to kill the market. Dealers as a whole in the coin market ain't really focusing on building brand. They're not offering nothing no more. They're presenting nothing that's keeping us excited. Whereas once upon a time, you wanted to know what the new release was going to look like, and you was excited to some degree. I haven't been in that long. I know some was hysteria. Whereas now I'm seeing people more anxious when they're releasing certain things, because they don't know what they're going to do, how it's going to actually play out in the end of the day, especially if you wanted to put your money in it. And once upon a time, you've seen that it could go up. But that's just not the case no more, because dealers and mints are doing whatever they're going to do. They're not brand building no more. When I say brand building, I mean, you can build a coin series just like a brand. You see it in fashion, i.e. bags and clothes, and even in watches, they can limit something. It's very easy. You would have thought in a genre like this, they would focus more so on doing that, because you have collectors that are getting into a series. You could easily bring out a coin, put it at one set price, instruct dealers to keep it at that price, rope people in, bring out one, set the mintage and move on, and then build and build and build. And people flock to it because they know that there's something on the top end for them. So everybody eats along the way. It's like they're dropping something down, and it's like a pit of piranhas. If it takes off, they're going to milk it for every variant. These things have ultimately gone on to where we are now with the 2019, and I believe future releases. Very still, lack of creation. There's going to be nothing new. I look at the Royal Mint and believe they've got a hit with the Queen's Beast, but they could have a lot more going on. But they seem to just be focusing on really churning out as much as they can with the Queen's Beast, and just developing really what's mundane expected from them. Hey, we're going to do a Tower of London. Here, look at the Buckingham Palace from a different angle, and the likes of. There's only so many angles you can get a lion or an elephant when we're talking big five. They're not really pumping nothing in, and if you think about it, it's not really that much. You're thinking of designs or themes to put on a coin, for Pete's sake, instead of churning out the same pieces. And this is what's led to the market being as dead and stale as where it is, and that's just my thoughts and opinions, guys. So going straight off from the top again, why I think the 2019s haven't done so well. Oversaturation, lack of creation from the dealers and the mints, buyers burnt out, dealers playing front, middle and back men, unscrupulous tactics from the mints and the dealers, and cryptos just taking collector coins lunch. These things all together combined, and just people having enough, have led us to where we are today, when we're having coins and it's mediocre. Not saying it's an absolute dead bet, because we can look at a few winners. Off the top of my head, I know the Germanias will be one, I would say, have done okay. They still have to prove themselves, but I believe on certain coins, even on the Simpsons, when I mentioned the Simpsons, I was referring to the BU. I know the proofs, some of the proofs, the donut coins have gone on to do well, especially if you're quick flipping. So, they're not all total write-offs. Once again, you get more bang for your buck on the BUs. I know the Germanias, we're talking flaming hot colors, or a lot of the different variants are doing okay. That's on a 25k mintage from a private mint. The BUs are doing lukewarm, but I would say there's been a lot of backing. That also plays a massive role. The more people get behind it and hype it up, if they have a vested interest in the piece because they want to see it do it well. Stressing, once again, if you're in this just to get one of these coins, they're all fantastic pieces that I've mentioned, and you're doing well. If you're a bit of a cowboy collector / flipper like myself and want them to go on to do great things, or just want to purchase a coin is doing well and not just tanking, then it's a bit of a stalemate from where we are. But another set, I would have to say, bunch of coins that are doing lukewarm would be a few offerings from the Royal Mint. So we're going to be looking at the 50p's, but there's been so many, and technically we're not sure if they're going to go on to be series, but a lot of them can technically be, half of them, even for the ones I've been involved with. The Gruffalo, the Snowman can still be sold somewhat near, 50% double what you paid. Then you have the Hawkins coins, depending on what variant you're looking at, the gold or the silver. So there's been a handful, just a tiny sprinkle of 2019 coins that have done so well so far. And we're in, the 7th month? So, I think it's looking bleak, but what would the mints need to do to fix this? A few of the things I just mentioned, build on brand, series brand, and put some strength behind it. Will they do that? Hell no. They've got more than enough deep pockets. It's business as usual. They'll just churn out more licensed coins. They will, pump them out, put a bloody, some type of mythical creature on a coin and say, here you go, and give you a quarter ounce, a 10th ounce, a kilo, a 10 kilo, every different color, rhodium, rainbow, pink, yellow, gold, silver, and it will just have to keep on going and see where it goes. But I don't see it looking too well. I was mentioning in one of my comments, with my silver purse that I had, that I was allocating, the funds I was allocating to silver, I now cut that. At one point it was 50-50 with silver and cryptos, but I now put that into 80-20 cryptos. So 80% of the money that I would have once upon a time used for picking up silver now goes into cryptos, and it's doing, as we can tell from current times, fantastically well. And I'm constantly taking out gains and putting it into what you're seeing here. So we'll just have to see how it goes, but there's most definitely coins doing well. So let me know in the comments if you're involved with them or know of any. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. As we wrap this one up, go ahead and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments on how you think the scene is, whether you think it's doing fantastic, dead, or you agree or disagree with any of the points I made. Go ahead, subscribe if you haven't done so already, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the rebound.